So another one, because it kind of relates to how businesses are kind of evolving. We're seeing a lot of customers of ours that have been using contractors and third-party partners, and trying to figure out how to give them, access to the corporate data, but you don't necessarily manage or own that device. So maybe talk about how digital workplace has helped dealing with contractors and third-party use cases.
And I think this has been a pain point for firms for a long time. If you outsource a business unit to India or South America or wherever, somewhere far away on the globe, there can be significant difficulty in getting back to the data. This again, 20 years ago, it would have been a very different answer than today. But now, with broadband internet being very common throughout the world, you can extend your workplace to another continent if you want to. You give users a secure logon. You can use endpoint management tools. iGel comes to mind immediately, where you can give somebody a bootable thumb drive and they boot into your environment for their workday and they unplug and they're back on their corporate owned endpoint by the end of the day. So you can work with a variety of solutions to secure the endpoint, or use something like Intune. You can manage endpoints that way if you want to have someone enroll. At the same time, there's an inherent risk. You have a contractor, they're not an employee of yours. Maybe data gets lost, maybe data gets mishandled, and now you might be liable for something. So through digital workplace strategy, you can do things like watermark a screen. You can keep data from being able to come out of your network. You can actually prevent the ability to copy paste, for instance. You can prevent files being pulled out because they have no way, they're not actually on your network, they're looking at a screen of your network. It really, again, comes down to requirements, but we can really secure that contractor or third party use case through a variety of ways. And at the same time, allow better user experience for them because they're coming in from overseas. And that could be a horrible logon time. It could make data hard to access. It could make the experience miserable because it's laggy or slow. And you can use solutions and modern protocols to, offer the best compression and the best performance.
Yeah, one of the use cases I've had that came up, or conversations I had with a customer around their third-party contractors, was not only did they sign an agreement to outsource a specific task, that task had some certain number of SLAs associated with it. They were supposed to perform X number of transactions or X number of calls.
Mhm.
And if they breached that term, the contracting company was going to owe them back. On the flip side, the contracting company said, well, if we can come up with a huge number of reasons of why we can't meet that SLA, we'll never have to pay that difference, right? So typically there was a lot of things like, well, your performance is slow. I can't get access to the things I need to get to. And so when we've had those conversations with customers about what they're doing with contractors and third parties, it tended to be whatever they did for their physical PC deployment was immediately replicated. When we're having the conversations, we're opening the door to, hey, there's other ways of doing this, right? There's other ways that we can leverage these solutions. And again, not that we're trying to come up with 1,000 different corner cases for customers, but there definitely are very common corner cases that need to be addressed, such as providing an external non-employee access to data and be able to do workflows in your environment. That's a very common use case. You got to come up with some strategies around that. So definitely a good conversation for getting started around digital workplace. That's great.
Well,
So let's
and
talk. Oh, go ahead.
before we leave that, you talked about being able to hold a contractor liable with SLAs and the contractor being able to turn it around on you. That's where things like, we'll talk about observability again, being able to see the session from the contractor's endpoint overseas to your data center and proving it's working, or being able to see why it's not working, I think offers tremendous value. Being able to see, G.I. Joe famously said, knowing is half the battle. And if you having that observability into the session allows you to know and act on any knowledge gained.